Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Good Show. I am Dylan. I am here with my boy, my pal, Brian. Say what's up, Brian.
Hey, Dylan. How is it going?
It's going.
It's going.
It's going.
Absolutely. We're here to, well, let them know what we're going to talk about.
We are talking about Charlie's Angels today.
Yeah, finally getting to cover the movie we've been waiting for. No, that's not what we're covering.
Sure is not. We are talking Ford versus Ferrari today, as well as some other stuff. We saw this last weekend, and we have constantly put off recording this episode. Not because we didn't want to do it, but because, I don't know.
We've been unlucky this week.
I kept forgetting. Brian got sick the day that we finally were able to get a time together. So that's just how it goes. But we're back. We're here. What's up, man? How's it been since the last time we talked?
Things have been good. I'm kind of happy that this is the episode that we've had to delay, just because it's like, I feel like the people who are interested probably aren't getting a ton of people covering this movie. And I do think it's a good movie, and I really wanted to make sure that we talked about it because I think it's going to be up there when we're talking about Oscar stuff.
Agreed. And we will be discussing Ford v. Ferrari shortly. I mentioned earlier, though, John Bernthal on an interview, another podcast, confirmed that it is in fact Ford versus Ferrari, not Ford v. Ferrari.
All right.
Like Batman versus Superman was in fact Batman v. Superman.
So this is good. Good clarification.
Yes. No. Since the last time we've talked, I've had a life-changing experience.
Oh, what was your life-changing experience?
Which was that I finally dove into Watchmen.
Thank God.
Oh, man. Buddy.
I wore you down by saying, hey, you should really watch Watchmen every 2 seconds.
You did, and I finally put it on out of spite. Because I had already seen the first episode, but it had basically been 4 weeks since I had watched, so I rewatched it again. And I actually really enjoyed it more the second time I had watched it, and then it just pulled me in. It's the show is so good. And This past week was one of the best hours of TV I've ever watched.
Yeah, man, it was emotional. It was intense. It had an amazing cliffhanger. Just, God, I think so. Obviously, when Watchmen came out, there was a lot of controversy, at least on YouTube, with people being mad about stuff, the way it was being adapted, saying it was Wokeman was a big one I saw, which I think that was so dumb. And I think a lot of the people who were saying that maybe just didn't understand the story as presented in the comic book. And I'm glad that the narrative has kind of shifted and people are giving it a chance. And I think, much like The Leftovers, while it may not be one of the highest rated shows in terms of viewership, I do think this is an extremely quality television show worth people's time.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think the budget is clearly there for a lot of the things they're doing. No spoilers, but they put a major event in one of the previous episodes didn't see in the movie. And so I'm loving it. Tim Blake Nelson, very underappreciated, underrated actor in Hollywood these days. He's very good. The show is just phenomenal. It was perfectly cast. Everybody that plays their role just plays it so fucking well.
Yeah, Regina King. Oh my God,
Regina King is lights out. I don't have the exact actress's name in front of me that plays Silk Spectre 2. I'm forgetting. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. Right. But she's equally as fantastic. I actually, if I had to pick, I actually think that she. Fuck it. I gotta look it up. Because that's like it's.
I got you. Maybe I don't.
Who gets it first? I'm already loading the page.
Jean Smart.
Jean Smart, you got it first. She's very good. I think if anybody's gonna be nominated for like an Emmy or Golden Globe or anything, I think it's gonna be her. Although this isn't the Watchmen show, but she's kind of recently fallen out in terms of main character. But as we just talked about before we got on the show is kind of going the direction very similar to Lost, of course, Damon Lindelof, where each episode is now kind of turning into a specific episode for the character it's focusing on. Other than Adrian Veidt, who just always sneaks in like the final 2/3 of the episodes, and it's always just like incredible TV. Because Jeremy Irons as Ozymandias is fucking awesome.
It's so good. I won't say hamming it up in a bad way, but he's chewing scenery for sure. It's so great.
He like dove into that character, and he's only on at max like other than I think the second episode or the third episode, he's only on the screen really for an accumulated like 15-20 minutes per episode, if that. Probably even less, but sometimes I just completely forget it's Jeremy Irons, and in fact it's Adrian Veidt, because he does a great job as well. The acting is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your point with the whole wokeman thing. I mean, at first I think the problem was because it was tackling current issues, and if anybody's going to try and pretend like white nationalism and fucking Nazis and all that isn't a real issue in this country right now, then you're delusional. And because I'm reading a lot of the comments how people are like, I don't come to a show for like social commentary, but at the same time I'm like, well, this show's kind of doing it the right way. They're making the bad guys the bad guys. So if you're offended by the Nazis and the white nationalists being the bad guys, then you're probably a Nazi or a white nationalist.
Well, that's my favorite thing. Is like, I don't come to the Watchmen for social commentary. It's like, I just not know what Watchmen is. I don't understand.
So I agree. It's getting shit on. It's getting shit on. I think some people rightfully have a gripe with the show in terms because it's just super fucking confusing. But at the same time, you should really just hang around, stick around for the show, which I did, and I'm incredibly thankful for. And I think a lot of people aren't going to enjoy it the same way that they did with The Leftovers, because it's just so out there and just so ridiculous. But it has paid off so much. I love it. Honestly, right now I have it behind Barry for the best show on TV, and it might even like, we'll see. I hope they stick the landing. If they stick the landing, that's going to be huge.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I mean, obviously people were worried for HBO with Game of Thrones going, but no, they're still pumping out quality TV.
Little did we know that Game of Thrones would be their most hated show that has come out this year.
Whew. That's a sobering statement, but not an accurate one. Not an inaccurate one at all.
Like we talked about off the pod, I mean, I really regret now not doing an episode-by-episode watch of this, but I think for the season finale, similar to what we did for Game of Thrones, we're going to get Tamora on, and we're going to do a little three-way Watchmen talk.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a lot more positive. If it continues on this way, then I think we're in for a good show.
It's a very, very rare occasion that a show quite literally gets better episode by episode, and this show has literally gotten better episode by episode. It's insane. It's been insane to watch. Like I said last week, it's like I really don't think it's an over exaggeration. It was one of the best hours of TV I've watched. They were like, honestly, I truly believe that I've seen it 3 times now, and each time I'm just like, this is so fucking good. Tim Blake Nelson, it's an episode basically centered around him. Tim Blake Nelson is so goddamn good.
He is. And I would have watched any show helmed by Damon Lindelof after The Leftovers. Obviously, I've made it a point that that's maybe my favorite show of all time. So the fact that it is Watchmen, a property that I already enjoyed quite a bit, like, it makes it even better.
Agreed.
And hey, there's still space to tell unique stories with superheroes. So that's exciting too.
One interesting thing I did hear this week that kind of like both made me nervous and at the same time made me kind of confident that maybe they would stick the landing. But Lindelof kind of said that this season is just one story.
Right.
Like I don't know if you saw that, but he's basically saying that this season is going to be, the story is going to wrap up in this season, which I'm not sure. I guess they are moving at a pretty rapid pace at this point.
Right.
Yeah, like there's no like long drawn out conspiracy that's going to run the whole show. At least not that we think. But that's kind of like, obviously I would assume it's successful enough to get another season, which I would be shocked if it wasn't. Who knows with all the bullshit backlash, but I was kind of disappointed with that because although I don't mind anthology TV shows, it's not something I would prefer. But I guess a good story is a good story. So I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, we have to see how the season ends first, but it's a little food for thought.
Yeah, and it's crazy that it's this good being a sequel. It's absolutely insane. And the way that they've handled certain more fantastical elements has, I think, been like slow burn enough to where when we get these more fantastical elements, they're not as jarring as they might be, either in a movie or in a, like if it had been the first episode and certain things were presented. I don't want to spoil it, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, agreed. And there are a lot of callbacks to the old Watchmen, because this is a direct sequel to the comic book, not the movie. Although the movie was pretty close to the comic book. Either way, you do get a lot of older characters, which is really nice. Obviously, Ozymandias is one of the main characters in the show. Yeah, I love it, and I'm now reading the comic for the first time too, and I'm really enjoying the comic as well. The comic is very, very good.
Awesome. So yeah, this is our 10 minutes of imploring you to join us and watch Watchmen, so that you have reason to listen to us talk about it when we cover it when it ends.
Yep. All right, on to some other news. Yesterday we had a little bit of an international incident where the sequel to the Joker was announced, and then about an hour or two later, it came out that this, in fact, is not true. There is no plans at the moment for a sequel to the Joker, which thank fucking God. But Brian, what are your thoughts on a potential sequel to Joker?
They shouldn't do it. I mean,
that's the only answer.
It's a really great story. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. We both really liked Joaquin Phoenix in the role, but I feel like I don't need more of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I mean, what's the more story you tell that now he faces off against Batman?
Right.
Like we're gonna see his years and years sent into madness. Like that's just we've seen it on the screen before. I'm not against Joker and Batman meeting again, but I just no, thank you. They made $1 billion. I told you on the podcast they wouldn't even come close. I was clearly wrong. You were right, because I think you had asked me if they were going to get close to $1 billion. I said no fucking way. They did, which is really, really impressive and really good for DC. But at the same time, don't be dumb. Don't do a sequel to it. I'm even I'm still iffy on now. They want Todd Phillips to do another origin story for a Batman villain, which is just why? Most of the time the origin stories are told in the Batman movie. Joker's really the only one that we don't really know his origin.
I mean, Joker's the only one who people probably would have cared enough about to give a shit enough to see an origin, and then Joaquin Phoenix bringing the amazing performance really pushed that over the edge. I can't think of another. Are we gonna get a Killer Croc origin story? No one cares. You know what I mean?
Buddy. Calendar Man origin story though. Sign me up.
I would just rather the story in the movie, like you said, Batman is as good as his villains. And yeah, the Joker's the best villain, and that's the reason why people, enjoy watching the Joker so much. But, most of those other villains aren't as compelling without Batman's influence on the story.
I almost kind of wonder, too, if this was the type of thing that DC was like, let's just throw this out there and kind of maybe see what the reaction's going to be. Yeah. And then I feel like it was probably overwhelmingly poor. I mean, there were some people that probably oh, I wish you wouldn't, but whatever, as long as Todd Phillips and Phoenix came back. But I do think that it was pretty much overwhelmingly negative, which which for me, overwhelmingly negative. I just saw it and I laughed, and I was just like, a fucking corpse.
When I saw it, I was like, I'm not that surprised, just because it made so much money, but I wish this weren't happening. And then a few hours later, they're like, no, it's not happening. And I was like, oh, wow, that I am surprised, and I'm glad.
Yep.
So, I also think, it was funny to watch people who hated the Joker being upset about a sequel for one reason, and people who loved the Joker being upset about a sequel for another reason, but still everyone being upset about a sequel.
That's what I mean. There's just as a movie viewer, there's just really there's no advantage. There's no reason we want it. But at the same time, as a studio, they're going to release it, and it'll still probably make $600-700 million because we're still going to go see it because just out of curiosity. So I don't know. I really, really, truly hope they don't do it because at this point you're getting to you now have to do it with Batman. Because what are you going to have 1 or 2 Batman movies and without the Joker even mentioned, which I find really hard to believe. And as we're about to talk about the Batman movie in a few seconds about how well that's coming together. I don't need just let the Joker be. It's going to be nominated for a bunch of fucking Oscars. I think that Phoenix is. As right now, I think he should win for the Joker. I think he beats out Leo. I think he beats out 2 of the people we're going to be talking about later in the show, and anybody else that's going to be mentioned. I think William Dafoe is going to be up there for Lighthouse. I have not seen that yet, but that's what I hear.
Yeah,
so
it's an insane year for performances, honestly.
It really is. It really is. I see people being like Robert Downey Jr. should be nominated. I mean, I don't really know about that. I think the thing about Robert Downey Jr. he's just so good at being Tony Stark that like it kind of blends into where is it really a good performance or is just Robbie Downey Jr. just perfected being Tony Stark? You know, like he is Tony Stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it'd be more like when they gave Return of the King all the Oscars. Which was more like this is for all of the Lord of the Rings movies, not necessarily just this specific one, you know.
We have another movie coming out next week that we were talking about with Knives Out that I think potentially could be nominated for an Oscar because it's apparently that good. That movie Queen and Slim also comes out next week, which is getting a lot of Oscar buzz.
Oh, really? Cool.
Lena Waithe wrote it. Daniel Kaluuya is getting some Oscar buzz for that as well. So, I mean, it is that time of year. You know what I mean? We pretty much have a month left for the Oscars to run their stride. So we'll see. But on to other Batman news. We got confirmation that Andy Serkis is officially playing Alfred Pennyworth. To which I say, hell yeah! I really like this casting. We've touched on this previously. I think this is great. It's really out there. It's something we never would have thought of, but it works, and I'm really excited to see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Michael Caine was probably the perfect Alfred. Can't get much better than him. I thought Jeremy Irons was good, but super underutilized.
Yep.
In his 2 appearances, and yeah, I'm ready for a younger Alfred, maybe more buff. I don't know. He was pretty buff last time we saw him in Black Panther. So,
yep.
What do you think of it?
I mean, this is great. Him and Matt Reeves are reuniting. Obviously, they did all the Planet of the Apes together. Right. Andy Serkis is just great. I mean, you talk about I would say Andy Serkis is up there for another underappreciated actor. He is really good in everything he does. He obviously does a lot of CGI work, so I feel like he kind of gets lost in a lot of that. But his action performances that we've seen him in he's good. Like even when he was Smeagol in the opening scene of Return of the King, he was very good at being like creepy and weird. He was very good at being like this eccentric lunatic in Black Panther.
Yes, he was so good in Black Panther.
Let's not forget. I forget. Have you seen what was that movie with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron this year?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it. But...
Anyway, he plays like a Roger Ailes like spoof, and I didn't even know it was him until the end. It was just ridiculous. But I can really see him as a younger Alfred. I'm really digging this. I it's just because it's like I never would have thought Andy Serkis Batman. I mean Andy Serkis Alfred. In the same way I probably never would have thought Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah, I mean, this is not afraid to take risks in this movie, but I think they're certainly calculated risks.
It really is. And also, this movie comes out in a year and a half. At least it's slated to. So they're going to kind of get moving.
I think it's starting to shoot January is what I heard.
I believe you're right, which also goes back to our speculation. Winter. It's going to be winter. It's going to be cold. It's going to be around that time. So I'm curious of the storyline they're going with.
Yeah.
But fuck yeah, dude. This is our weekly The Batman talk, and I am all for it. Now we just need to wait to see if Colin Farrell gets cast as the Penguin, which is another very, very interesting to make.
I mean, so far this cast looks amazing.
Yeah, I just give a quick rundown for this week. We have Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, the Batman. Obviously, Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, Catwoman. We now have Andy Serkis as Alfred, Paul Dano as the Riddler, and Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. So,
Hell
butter
yeah.
me up, baby. Hell yeah.
Oh man, any more movie news before we get into the main draw for this episode?
That's pretty much it. That's
All
pretty
right.
much it. Watchmen. We had a few. Shout out Brian Wong, who I know is still listening. We had a few co-op shows this week. I thought you and Ben have been doing an awesome job with Rick and Morty.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Speaking of Jeffrey Wright, he was just on the last episode of
Yep.
Rick and Morty. Obviously, that's a great show. It's a lot of fun to bring Ben into the Wicked Good Show family from the
Agreed.
extended Wicked Good Everything family. It's a sub
Agreed.
family.
So make sure you check those out. But yes, let's jump into Ford versus Ferrari.
So the great Carroll Shelby is going to build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford. Correct. And how long did you tell them you needed? 200 or 300 years? 9.
All right, as mentioned, we're talking Ford versus Ferrari 2019. This movie has been out since November 15th. Obviously starring Christian Bale, Matt Damon, John Barenthal, Josh Lucas. Great cast. I feel like there's one more I'm forgetting, but he's far enough up on IMDb for me to get him. Directed by James Mangold, his first movie since Logan, I believe. Don't fact check me on that, but I think that's true.
Pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
American car designer Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and driver Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, battle corporate interference, the laws of physics, and their own personal demons to build a revolutionary race car for Ford and challenge Ferrari at the 24 Hours Le Mans in 1966. Brian, if you check me out on Letterboxd, I actually gave this 4 stars out of 5.
Very nice.
This was very, very good. What did you think?
Yeah, man. I would say like the actual like film meat of the story is super solid. But the race scenes are fucking amazing in this movie. I was edge of my seat for all the race scenes. So if you're into cars, if you're into the physics of how cars work and just like overcoming the odds, underdog type story, you're gonna like this.
Yeah, I agree. The race scenes were unbelievable. The car, like the shots they were able to get in the car, I thought were really well done. It was a type of movie, I don't know if it came out in the IMAX, but it would have been a very interesting.
Did, yeah.
This in IMAX would be awesome, but we just saw it in like a regular theater, and it was still great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Christian Bale, very, very good as always. I actually said in my Letterboxd review, I don't suspect anybody's going to get nominated for an actor, but after letting this film marinate for about a week, I take that back, and I think that there's potentially a chance that Matt Damon and Christian Bale could both be nominated. I think that they both, very similar to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think they both would have to be best actor rather than best supporting actor, because Christian Bale is by far the lead, but I don't know, you can't consider Matt Damon a supporting actor, but they're both very, very good. Christian Bale just doing a ridiculous like Cockney accent, which I don't think this is his full accent. Which is crazy, because his full accent is pretty out there, but it's just Christian Bale. I'm convinced Christian Bale could just become anybody he wants to become. You know what I mean? And he's fantastic in this movie. I don't think he has the chops to go up against. Well, he has the chops. I don't think that this movie's going to have him go up against Phoenix or Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But he's very good. He probably should be nominated. But the cast is great. It's a story I knew nothing about, and the Ford versus Ferrari. I thought this was going to be like a real like rah rah, like we're Ford, we're America, this is great, and it's really not. It's more a character story based around Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby. And yeah, I loved it. It didn't really catch me by surprise because of the 2 actors and director it had, but it was very well done. And like you said, the shots of the race were just fucking phenomenal. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, man. I think so. Before we get into spoilers, I'll give my rating. You gave 4 out of 5. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Go see it. It's a fun movie, and the race scenes are amazing.
Yeah, and this is probably going to be talked about in a couple months for award season, so it doesn't hurt to check it out.
Yeah, is there anything we want to add in before we go into spoilers about it?
No, our boy John Barenthal also very good
Yes.
in the limited role he has. Josh Lucas, who I like in most roles, good at being a dickhead.
Oh, he's such a dickhead in this movie.
We can get into my actual thoughts. I guess like I don't know for sure how much of this is true and not true. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like what actually happened behind the scenes and what didn't. But let's just also the title. I wasn't a big fan of the title. As he
Right.
talks about apparently overseas, the actual title of this movie is Le Mans '66, which I think is far better. But you brought up a good point that a lot of people probably have no idea what that is because I didn't know what Le Mans was until I saw the
Right.
trailer for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a popular sport in America, really. NASCAR is more popular, and even that's not like a crazy popular sport. So I don't know if it would have sold with an alternate title like that.
I was really confused too how a 24-hour race would work because I thought it was
Just one person driving. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were in teams, which I guess makes sense. But I was like, when we first started watching the movie, they were like, "Yeah, it's 24-hour race." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, that sounds terrible."
I know. I was thinking like that is so dangerous and reckless. What the hell?
But I did, yeah, it was interesting. It's tough to get into the spoilers, but yeah, I'm ready to go. I love this movie. I don't want to say I loved it. I really liked it. 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. So if you're, checking out right now, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Make sure you subscribe. We need to get to 100 subscribers to get a custom URL. Give us a rating on iTunes. Tell your friends, anyone who might be interested in movies to check out the podcast. And, of course, check us out on Twitter at WGEverything, on Instagram at WickedGoodEverything, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/WickedEverything. Oh, yeah, the main channel is Wicked Good Everything, too. YouTube.com/WickedEverything. Dylan, where can we find you?
Shut up, Ryan Wong.
You can find Dylan at Shoutout Brian Wong. So, all right, you ready to get into spoilers?
Getting the spoilers. You can find me on Twitter at the bottom of the episode
Description.
page on description. Let's fucking go. I'm ready to talk spoilers.
Here we go. Spoiling now. Dylan, let's get into it.
Yeah, so as mentioned, the movie's called Ford versus Ferrari. This is really more Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby versus the world, because the guys for Ford were like such idiots, dicks. Like they were so stupid. Like Josh Lucas. So the tough part is this is what I mean. I don't know what's revised history and what's not and all that. But the part where I forget which Ford, the guy Henry Ford II, when he gives Carroll Shelby like full control over the race program.
Yeah.
And then like a scene later, we find out that Josh Lucas's character is now the one that's actually in full control of the race program. I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that like that there was like a month or two that went by and that's how it happened. But it was like so frustrating.
Right.
And then they realize that Ken Miles is the best racer that they could have for this race. And at the same time, they're constantly trying to remove him, and they're trying to slow him down in the race. And it was incredibly frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And then obviously at the very end of the movie, we get the incredibly fucking stupid thing of having all 3 Ford cars cross the line at once. And then it ends up being that Ken Miles does not win. I was fuming. My blood was boiling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. See if we can look this up.
I think that part's for sure true. Because that's too crazy of a thing to put in the movie. That's for sure true. Which just shows how ridiculous that is at first. And during the movie, I actually misunderstood seeing it first when Enzo Ferrari was tipping his cap to Ken Miles. I thought he was being like, "Yeah, I fucked you, huh?
Yeah.
You want to fuck me?" But no, he was like tipping, being like, "You're a great racer." No, it was pretty much Ford that fucked them. And
Yeah.
Josh Lucas's character, Leo Beebe, that sucked. And I guess the thing that kind of held this movie back for me was really the final like 10-15 minutes, because you get like such a letdown from this. Like it kind of kills everything that Ken Miles had done up to this point, where Ferrari was knocked out of the race and he had basically overlapped everybody. And then you think that he won, then you finally get the feel good that he became a team player, and then they revoke his win, and then 2 scenes later he dies. It was a very like stale ending for me. Because like they're like, oh yeah, but Ford won like the next like 5 Le Mans. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Ford sucks after this movie. Like, I'm not rooting for it anymore.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it does say that there was a lot of confusion as to what would happen if they all crossed at the same time. So the movie, it leaves it open to you, but what do you think? Do you think it was implying that they really like screwed them over on purpose, or?
I think I think the logic they were using was that because Ken Miles slowed down on the final lap, his lap was a lot longer than the guy that ended up winning, and since they crossed at the same time, that was basically like the tiebreaker.
Well, I think what it was how they all started in a line and they all had to run into their cars.
Yeah.
The car that finished and ended up winning was further behind at the very beginning. So he went further to finish at the same time, so technically he won.
Another like ridiculous way to start a race. It's crazy.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
I just don't know. Like, I don't know why I've never heard of Le Mans, but like maybe it's because of this, because of all this bullshit they do. But it was cool. Like I said, it was a story I've never heard about. It was. I mean, you see the movie, you obviously assume Ford beats Ferrari, but that was like the thing. This movie really was not about Ford versus Ferrari. This movie was about Ford trying to bring down Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles after they had hired them to beat Ferrari. That's why I think Le Mans 66 would have made a lot more sense, or Shelby Miles versus Ford. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, there is a documentary, if you're interested, called 8 Meters about the finish at the 66 Le Mans.
So I'll watch it if I want to get upset.
But yeah, man, and the ending is such a fucking gut punch after gut punch.
That's right. It really is. I would not consider the ending of this movie to be a happy ending. No. Because a family loses a husband and a father. Carroll Shelby, they won 5 times at the same time. The friendship between him and Ken Miles seemed to be a lot more important to him.
Yeah,
he was obviously incredibly beat up that his friend had died testing a car for them. So
this is like, Jesus fucking Christ, he died. I literally those are my exact thoughts at that scene. And then in my second thought, I was like, why was that in the movie? Oh, okay.
It was it was a weird scene too, because you had a voiceover from Matt Damon, and you could tell something bad happened. But at the same time, it was like an off center, like away shot, and so you just see the car crash, and then like focuses on his son, like realizing what's going on, and it was a weird way to just kill him off like out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But then again, I guess he just literally died in life out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's as jarring as I guess a real life death in that circumstance would be.
Sure, yeah, but in the end, I don't think that it ruined it obviously didn't ruin the movie for me. But yeah, the ending was, like you said, a real gut punch. I wish it had ended in a little bit of a higher note, because like I said, I didn't give a fuck about Ford winning the next 5 Le Mans, because like Ford sucked. Ford was the biggest enemy in this entire movie.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, they haven't won again. If it makes you feel any better.
It does make me feel better.
Oh, man. But yeah, the movie itself is good. The ending is a little weird. I guess that's the best way we can put it.
But James Mangold, he's up there, man.
Really talented,
Very talented director. What he did with Logan was obviously unbelievable. I'm going to pull up his IMDb right here.
Okay.
Walk the Line, that was the other one he did I was thinking of. Walk the Line, one of my all-time favorite movies.
And I remember when he got the nod to direct Logan, I was like, the director of Walk the Line is going to make a superhero movie? Granted, then you saw Logan, you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
He did do the Wolverine. That's what I was also thinking of. He did do the Wolverine. Yeah, he's had some good movies. Ford vs. Ferrari, very good. I wouldn't say it's better than Logan, because Logan was kind of like a masterpiece.
Right.
So he's done Ford vs. Ferrari, Logan, the Wolverine.
It kind of feels like they just let him actually make the movie he wanted with Logan, whereas the Wolverine was not bad, but still was very comic booky.
He did Night and Day, which is it's okay. He did 3:10 to Yuma with Kurt Russell and Christian Bale, which is it's a great Western. Walk the Line was really his first like unbelievable movie. And then he did this movie called Copland, which has like an outrageous cast. So Copland is a movie, came out in 1997. The sheriff of a suburban New Jersey community populated by New York City police officers slowly discovers that the town is the front for mob connections and corruption. And this stars Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Peter Berg. Robert Patrick, Michael Rappaport, that fucking new cockeye fuck. Noah Emmerich. There's like randomly a shitload of people in this movie. Frank Vincent, Rip, Copland. I've never seen it, but it's a movie I always see all the time, and I didn't realize he directed it because it's just like a ridiculous cast in it.
It's crazy, but yeah.
Very
anything else you want to talk about on this for the spoilers? I mean, there's not much to spoil. I mean, it's a historical event, you know.
That's the thing. This isn't a movie that's really gonna drive people to. If you're still listening, God bless that you went and saw Ford versus Ferrari before coming out on digital. No, it was great. It was a really good movie, and I think film people that like movies more than just comic books and superhero movies and actions films. And in that interview with John Barenthal, he was saying, this was like a real movie. They did a lot of the shots were on an actual racetrack. There's obviously a lot of CGI involved too, but a lot of the shots were on a racetrack. And I was actually watching behind the scenes short that HBO did, and it was like them like actually crashing the cars and stuff.
Right.
So it's very like sort of old school filmmaking. It was very well done. It's like I said, James Mangold's very good. It's a good movie. I'm glad we're talking about it now because like it had a week to marinate with me, and I was kind of like all over the place with it. I knew it was good. I just didn't know how much I liked it, but I did. I liked it a lot, and it's a movie I'm looking forward to seeing again. But the performances for sure carry this, and even like Chris Bale and Matt Damon, great. John Barenthal in the few scenes he was in awesome, and Josh Lucas, who I do like, he's good at being a dickhead in this.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, if you haven't seen it but somehow you're still here, thank you, I guess, but definitely go see it.
Go see it. Go see all the movies we review.
Yes.
So you can stick around. Shout out Brian Wong, who was not listening right now.
Shout out to someone who doesn't do that, but shout out nonetheless. You'll be happy to know I did shout him out on the Rick and Morty if you haven't heard it yet.
Well, yeah, we have to keep the shit going. I always said if we create shirts for the show, our show tagline in the back will be "Shout out Brian Wong."
I wonder how he will feel about that.
He can't sue us.
You're right, because it's a quote, so it's not.
No. So coming up, we're probably going to do Knives Out next. Our next show is actually going to be The Mandalorian Episode 3, which we record on Saturday. I will not be able to watch it until Saturday unless I watch it tomorrow when I'm at home because I am going to see the last podcast on the left live, which I'm really looking forward to. But we're going to do that Saturday. We have Rick and Morty again with you and Ben next Sunday. When we have Thanksgiving this week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Black Friday. And then I'm going to be getting a new computer so I can help you ramp up production for these podcasts so we can start putting out like 4 podcasts a week episodes for this.
4 of just Wiki Good Show on top of all the other podcasts.
I think after Knives Out we can use that time to try to catch up on some movies like The Lighthouse that we haven't had a chance to review yet. I know you've seen it. I have not seen it yet. And this is kind of we're just building up to Star Wars really, which is kind of our end of year hoorah.
Yes. It's coming sooner than later, man. I'm excited.
Less than a month away.
Oof. Hopefully it's good. God, I really hope it's good.
I think it will be. I think that's going to be very fan servicey, which is I think it's something I need right now, honestly, in my life.
Oh man! All right. Well, thank you guys so much for checking this out. As I said before, you can find us on all the social medias that I said before, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Thanks for listening. I love you all. You all mean so much to me, and especially when I listen to myself talk to myself on car rides to work. So shout out me.
Yes, shout out future Dylan from past us.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Also, before we cut off, if you have not listened to my interview I did with Better Radio, where I talked about Bin Laden hiding in my basement, and we discussed things like Jeffrey Epstein and Kevin Spacey. As you can tell, it's a very upbeat episode. Check that out because it was a lot of fun. We're hoping to get Liam on soon for something like I've discussed doing a live commentary of The Room, which I think could be a lot of fun and very funny. So we want to do something like that soon. Make sure you check out Ben's episode on Better Radio, which came out this week. Which
and
I thought
Dylan's
was
on that too.
I was on that as well. It was actually a talk I really enjoyed being part of. I really enjoyed our whole reality TV show / like actual serious esports video game talk. It was something I really enjoyed, and I think everybody should check it out because we're honestly like pumping out a fuckload of content, and it's about time that we start getting paid. You know what I mean?
Speaking of both of those, I'll announce it here because who knows how many people are still listening after we've, signed off like 4 times. That conversation has actually inspired a show that Ben and I are doing some pre-production on. So.
I saw that and I am very excited. I need to find where that show is streaming.
So wait, which one are you talking about?
Which one are you talking about?
Ben and I are doing a show called We Hate Reality, where we go back and watch forgotten reality TV shows from like the mid-2000s and riff on them.
Oh, okay. I knew nothing of the sorts. Okay, so this is news to me. Cool.
Yes.
No, I was talking because I saw you guys tweet out your Outer Worlds thing yesterday, and I was like, oh fuck, I need to watch this ridiculous.
Opposite Worlds. Yeah.
Fucking league. Opposite Worlds. Outer Worlds is a video game.
Yeah, I'll send you Jenny Nicholson's video where she just talks about it for like 40 minutes. That's gonna be much better than forcing yourself to sit through like 20 episodes of maybe the worst reality show of all time, but also the best.
That do you guys have a name for your show yet?
Yes, it's gonna be called We Hate Reality.
Oh, that's the actual name of the show. I like it. So, agreed. Reality sucks.
Exactly. So yeah, just check that out probably in the new year because we're too fucking busy to start it up any sooner than that, and the holidays are coming around the corner.
Are you guys going to review? I guess I don't know if this would be a documentary. Dane Cook's Torgasm HBO show.
Maybe. I think anything will be on.
I guess technically it doesn't really count as a reality TV show. It's a documentary of him like going around to all these different shows for his Torgasm tour. And he actually I didn't realize he worked at Fitchburg State. He actually did a show at Fitchburg State.
Really?
During the HBO documentary series. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Very exciting. Yeah, I liked you and Ben's chat. I really hope that we can get together and do more stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
For the pod. I'm looking forward to talking to more again.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you watch Watchmen. Make sure you watch every reality TV show that came out in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm. You just got to go back and watch them all.
The fucking 2010s are over.
Yeah.
We only have like 5 weeks left in the 2010s. And then we're in a whole new decade.
Kind of scary, but also exciting. 2020, our year. So I hope I'm putting it out there.
I hope to get 20 listens on this.
Well, we'll see what happens.
20 listens per year. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
All right. I love you guys. See ya.